Hello, friends. I thought you might like to get together for another story today. And I have a good one for you, and I don't think you'll know it. It's called Rap-a-Tap-Tap. Here's Bojangles. Think of that. Now, Bojangles was a nickname for a man named Bill Robinson. He was a real man. He was an African American. And when I was young, I used to see Mr. Bojangles on television dancing. And that's why he is famous. He was a wonderful tap dancer. This story is by Leo and Diane Dillon. And there's Mr. Bojangles on the front. He always used a cane and pretty often a hat. And he did tap dancing, so his shoes had toes and heels that made a clicking sound as he danced. Let's read the story and see if you would enjoy dancing like Mr. Bojangles. There once was a man who danced in the street. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. And there you see Mr. Bojangles with his cane and with his hat off, and he's dancing in the street, and a little girl under the trees watching him. He brought pleasure and joy to the people he'd greet. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. There's somebody at the bus stop and a baby in a carriage, and they're enjoying seeing Mr. Bojangles dance. And you can see in this illustration how the artist uses the little shadows to indicate that that Bojangles' legs are moving. He didn't just dance, he made art with his feet. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. And these are people out for their daily chores. They look like they're at the market, and they look up and they see Mr. Bojangles dancing. If you look up here, you can see an overhead train going by. That's in the city. He danced past doors. Some were open, some were closed. Mr. Bojangles didn't care. He danced for everybody. So look at the people enjoying him dancing. And look at him dancing. He's holding his hat, bending over, holding his cane, and moving his legs, and clicking his toes and heels, because he's a tap dancer. He danced past folks in fancy clothes. Look at these people all dressed for a party. Two men in top hats and a woman with a hat and a long dress. They're standing in front of a door with a doorman, so it's a pretty fancy place. It's nighttime because I see a moon out. And there's Mr. Bojangles happily dancing down the street. He doesn't have his hat in this picture, but he usually does. He does have his cane. He danced through a place people called the Skids. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. The Skids is a place where poor people, often homeless people, had to live. You see there's a fire in this barrel keeping them warm. They have blankets wrapped around them. But Mr. Bojangles, he liked to entertain people that were in the Skids just as well as anybody else. He danced through crowds of laughing kids. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. Don't these kids look pretty happy? They're smiling behind him and running behind him. There's a man on a pretty big bicycle back there too. So Mr. Bojangles made everybody happy with his tap dancing. His feet fairly flew as he tipped his hat. And look at the park band playing music, and he's dancing to that music. He's tipping his hat, holding his cane, moving his legs quickly. He briefly paused to pat an old cat. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. It looks like a happy cat getting petted. And look at all the people in the market. They're buying their fish and their vegetables for the day, but they're also looking over at Mr. Bojangles, tap dancing away. He danced rain or shine in all kinds of weather. So in this picture, what kind of weather is this? A beautiful sunny day. But in this picture, what kind of day is it? All those umbrellas are up. It must be a rainy day. But Mr. Bojangles danced in all kinds of weather. People listened each day for his toe-tapping clatter. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. There's all the people out early in the morning. There's a bus going by, a man with a broom, a policeman, and children going to school, a mother and her son going shopping probably. And there's Mr. Bojangles tap dancing by. He danced many rhythms that were seldom the same. He liked different beats. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. And look at all the instruments we see. There's a snare drum here, and there's a bongo drum here, and some bongo drums, and conga drums here, and maracas here, and she's banging a couple of sticks together. Different ways of making percussion. And Mr. Bojangles likes to dance to different beats. Dance was his passion, and it brought him fame. Rap-a-tap-tap, think of that. So look at Mr. Bojangles dancing, and look at the audience. They're all clapping for him, holding their hands up. He became a famous person because of his dancing. Famous like a TV star, or famous like maybe a great football player. Bojangles, that was his name. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. And these are all different images of Mr. Bojangles as he's dancing with his fancy stick and his top hat. So you can remember the name Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, and his real name was Bill Robinson. Maybe your parents, your mom or your dad would remember Mr. Bojangles. And there are some songs about Mr. Bojangles that you might be able to hear someday. So I hope you like the story. I look forward to seeing you soon. Stay healthy. Wear your mask. Bye-bye.